sharing with you in this video how to trust your intuition when creating what you want. And I really want to start off this video by just highlighting the significance and the importance of actually doing this if you're serious about aligning with what it is that you care about in your life. Because the truth is that it's not just going to be about intention. Like, it can't just be about, pushing through. There's times and places to work hard. There's times and places to definitely not put in so much, put in more effort and to put in all that work and to sweat a little bit more and to put in a little bit more focus, right? Other times, it's not going to be the case. Like, you just need to let go and stop putting in so much effort, because that effort is now limiting you from becoming a higher level, from increasing your level to becoming a better performer in whatever it is that you want to do and getting to what you want in a much faster way. So the first thing that I want to share with you in this video in terms of how to actually do this is to understand that, really what we want to do is to start to trust our deeper intelligence. What does this mean? I really believe that we all have a deep intelligence within us, that if we learn to trust a little bit more, so many things in our life would just be figured out, because we walk through life and we don't trust that deeper part within us. What we do is that we believe that everything has to be done with force. And I'm sorry to tell you that not everything can be done with force. Like, not everything can just be done with you pushing through and working through it and putting in more effort. Sometimes you're just going to have to take a step back and realize that effort is not going to get you there. And so what I really believe is that every single human being, whether they realize it or not, has something deep within them to help them get closer to what they want. It's like almost there's this intelligence or this, a really good mentor of mine called it your emotional guidance system, right? Your emotions are quite literally just moment to moment guiding you, moment to moment, in terms of, are you aligned with your goal or are you not aligned with your goal? Your emotions are communicating to you moment to moment through your feelings and through the feelings in your body, like quite literally. So a lot of the times, what happens is that I believe that we stop believing in our emotional guidance system. We stop believing in our basic emotions, which is like, people have never just learned how to trust in what their emotions are telling them. They think that it's a taboo subject, or there's something wrong about it, or that they shouldn't trust their emotions because this is what society told them. And it's like, the truth is that I think we need to stop all of this and remember that that deep intelligence within you is communicating to you moment to moment whether you're doing what it is that you're supposed to be doing or not. When I say supposed to be doing, what I mean is, are you aligned with your vision or not? So what I would invite and encourage you to do is start to trust that deeper intelligence within you. Start to trust that part of you where you feel like it's not just about logic and figuring it out logically and trying to understand the plan and to see it A, B, C, D to, sometimes it doesn't just go A, B, C, D. It goes from A all the way to X. Like, you can just skip it. It can be a non-linear progress, and you can increase in a very powerful way in a very short amount of time if you trust that deeper intelligence. And a lot of times, like, let's be honest, we all know what we have to do to be successful. We all know what we have to do, but we don't trust our intuition and our basic logic, and we don't follow through with that. You basically know what you have to do to be successful in whatever area. If you want to be a successful writer, write every single day, no exceptions. If you want to be a professional comedian, you got to be performing in as many shows as possible and be an actual comedian. Be a comedian as much as you possibly can. Dedicate your life to doing it every single day. And then trust yourself. Are you in alignment with that? Are you networking with the right people? Are you having the right conversations? Are you taking the right steps? You're going to know. And if you're not doing the things that you know you have to do, you're going to be able to sense that. And if you're honest enough with yourself, you're going to be like, okay, I know that right now I'm lying to myself, and that really what I know that I'm doing is not in alignment with my vision. And you can just be honest about that. That takes a lot of self-reflection. That takes a lot of humbleness. That takes a lot of letting go of the ego and to really observe, which brings me to the second point in this video, which is that if you really want to trust your intuition when creating what you want, what I invite and encourage you to do is to let go / detach from your ego. What do I mean by ego? What I mean by ego is, not just the construct of who you are. Yes, that's true. It is the construct of who you are. But particularly the ego, in my personal opinion, is attachment and identification with an identity. With an identity that has to do with the form. If you've ever read any Eckhart Tolle, what Eckhart Tolle talks about is that, there's this form and there's the formless part of who you are. The formed part of who you are is your body and, the physical part of you, and That part of you is very important to consider, because what's happening is that if you're attaching to that part of you that's form-based, it has to do with more form. If you're attached to the form, then what's happening is that you're now becoming more attached to what some people call the ego. The ego, right? Because now if you're attached to form and you don't realize that you're attached to the form, if there's no realization, if there's no awareness, if there's no spaciousness, there's not enough spaciousness in that person's awareness, in that person's field, in that person's life, to start to notice, like, well, wait a second, actually, I'm attached to my thoughts right now. If there's no awareness that there's an attachment to the thoughts, that's what you would call the ego. Now, what I'm saying is that if you want to trust in what we call our intuition, we need to let go of the ego. Based on this definition, what that means is creating more spaciousness between you and your thoughts. If you're able to create more spaciousness between you and your thoughts, not attach, you can still have intentions, like control your thoughts as much as possible, right? If you want that, control your actions as much as possible, right? Do whatever you need to do to create what you want, but just remember, there's no need to attach to the intention. You can continually think about something in your mind's eye from a space of non-attachment and non-neediness to cling on to that thought, because you understand that there's no need to do so. So the more that we come from a space of not attaching to the ego, not attaching and not creating this identification with form, the more that you're going to have the spaciousness to trust and only believe in the feelings and the intentions and the actions that are aligned with what you actually want, with what you actually want to create in your life. So what I might encourage you to do is to let go of your ego as much as possible and detach from the ego as much as possible. What you're going to notice is that you're going to have more spaciousness and more awareness and more capacity to actually create what you want and to focus more on what it is that you want, because you're not going to be so caught up in this negative identity or belief system or train of thought that's stopping you from just trusting in the natural flow of action where you're aligned with what you want. Because creating what you want is a natural thing. Like, it's not a typical thing, right? It can just be a natural flow, natural action. Like, you're taking action towards what you want. You don't need to necessarily try very difficult, or it doesn't have to be hard. Again, sometimes it can be hard, but when you let go of the ego, what happens is that you have spaciousness to take not necessarily effortless action, but aligned action towards the intention where you feel emotionally fueled by taking action. See, where maybe people think that taking action is going to make them feel drained and make them feel bad, what people need to start to remember is that action can actually fuel your energy and make you feel a lot more energized if you do it in the right way. Because you can use all negativity and all feelings of hopelessness or not feeling connected or not feeling energized or feeling drained. You can use all of that to create even more, as a cue to be even better, as a cue to create even more what it is that you want in your life. And all of this is much more possible when you let go of the ego construct. And again, what is the ego construct? Identification with thoughts, the awareness, losing a sense of itself, and attaching to a thought, believing that that thought is who it really is, when in reality, that thought is not who it really is. It's just a thought form that's in that space of consciousness, when in reality, you are the consciousness that is observing the thought, not attaching to the thought. And I think that this is a really powerful insight that's going to allow you to create what it is that you want in a much more powerful way that's going to make it just that much more effortless. Not that you just want everything to be effortless, but when that opportunity comes that it can be effortless, you can capitalize on that and make your life a lot easier so that you don't need to be struggling for everything that you want to create in your life. So the third and final thing that I want to share with you in this video is just to remember that, you don't need to go against your intuition to create what it is that you want. Like, I just want to dispel that myth right now. The belief system that you need to go against your intuition in order to create what you want, that is nothing more than a belief system. That's all it is. It's a belief system that you do not need to subscribe to. Remember, you can subscribe to belief systems that you actually want to. Any belief system that doesn't resonate for you, that you don't agree with, that doesn't work for you, that's not helpful for you to create what you want and isn't aligned with what it is that you want to create, you're safe to just let go of that belief system, because it's not going to be a belief system that serves you. If it doesn't serve you, if it doesn't bring you more peace and more alignment towards your goal and your success that you want to create in your life, then really you're safe to let go of that belief, and you have nothing to feel guilty about. You have nothing to feel shameful about. You can just let go of that and move on with your life. Let go of that belief, and remember that you don't need to do anything that goes against your intuition. Like, if your intuition is saying, don't believe in this thought, don't take this action because it's not going to be supportive to what you want, you should learn to trust in your emotional guidance system. you should learn to stop giving away your power in your decision-making process to other people, because I believe that we can walk through life and we can go through phases where we believe that we need to give away our decision-making process to another person or to something out there. You know, some people are even using ChatGPT to give away their decision-making process. And this is what's happening, is that people are walking through life, and rather than even themselves making their own choices, now they're giving away to an AI computer. So they're giving away their decision-making process to an AI computer, and they're not even trusting their intuition anymore. Now, if your intuition is telling you to go look up something in ChatGPT, maybe that can be useful. But just be careful with that, because what's happening is that, you know, if you're continually giving away your decision-making process to something outside of you, what's happening is that you're conditioning yourself to never really trust in your emotional guidance system, in your emotional intelligence, and that part of you that really understands what to do at the right time and how to be at the right place, and to be, you know, perfectly in alignment with what you want, and to notice that opportunity so you can be perfectly energized and then take action to create what you want. Like, your ego is not going to notice these opportunities, because what is the ego? The ego is identification with form, and so it's usually going to be identified with something that has to do with the past. And when you're creating a vision for the future, you can't be attached to a vision of the past. You have to let go of that vision in order to create space to create what you want that's going to be coming in the future. But remember, if you're living life through the lens of what happened in the past, that's not going to be the right space and to create the right set and setting to be able to create what you want again in that future. So we need to learn to believe in our intuition, and remember that let go of any belief that's telling you that you need to somehow go against your emotional guidance system to get what you want. Just I want you to let go of that. There's no need for you to sacrifice your morals, sacrifice your values, sacrifice what you care about, sacrifice your feelings, sacrifice your level of peace, sacrifice your security. There's no reason for you to let go of any of this type of stuff in order for you to get what you want and what you desire in your life. I think that's nothing more than a belief system, a limiting belief that's convincing you that you need to sacrifice something in order to get what you want, and that life has to be a lose-win. Why should you lose so that somebody else can win? Why can't you win, and then you winning can be also including other people, and to see how they can be included in that so that they can potentially win with you? And if they can't win with the relationship with you, then maybe they're better somewhere else, in a different kind of relationship with a different person, or perhaps on their own. Whatever that relationship is, maybe the best thing that we can do is just be honest that two people are not compatible for each other, and to then meet the people that are actually compatible for them, so that then they can stop people pleasing, stop believing that they need to go against their values and to people please in order to get what they want. You don't need to people please. There's nobody that you have to people please, or there's no reason for you to go against your values in order to get what you want in your life. I think that's a limiting belief. I think that we need to let go of this in order to be more aligned with to be a person of integrity, to be a person of excellence, to be a person of that, you know, values discipline and commitment. If you care about these things that I'm sharing with you in this video, I invite and encourage you to stop believing to any degree that you need to go against your belief of feeling aligned with your vision. Stop believing that you need to go against your feeling of truly being aligned with who you want to be in order to create what it is that you want in your life, and to be that person that you actually want.